B4 engine.
Jag fattar inte att det var idag. Ursäkta, men det är bara 6 minuter kvar och jag håller på att käka middag här. Men fuck yeah. Det blir kul. Jag ska låta er höra.
For BE3U, it normally started, well, it actually started with our BE3 engine that flies New Shepard. Then we upgraded it to 160,000 pounds of thrust. We actually flew it at 174,000 pounds of thrust for its first flight. And so that upgrade path is going to continue. And we're very lucky that we can test at our test stand in West Texas, at our test stand at Marshall Space Flight Test Stand 4670 in California, and that we can test like we fly so that we're fully confident going into today's mission.
Awesome. Thank you, Eddie, for that. Tabitha, I'll just say it's a big day for the BE4 because not only is New Glenn launching today, 7 of these BE4s, but United Launch Alliance is our customer. They also have a launch today. Not today, BE4s are not flying with ULA, but we want to give our customer there a shout out for their launch as well.
Well, speaking of customers, let's talk about ESCAPADE for a second. We have just enough time. We're awaiting that final terminal count coming out at T-4. But ESCAPADE is a pair of these twin satellites, and it's doing something really unique, something that it hasn't done. I had the opportunity actually earlier to talk to Dr. Joe Westlake. Earlier in the week, I got to talk to Dr. Nikki Fox. And two big things happening that have never happened before.
Det borde vara kul. Jag har missat helt att detta är idag. Jag tror det var imorgon. Så jag sitter och käkar nu och jag håller på att plugga egentligen. Men det här får vi ju kolla på med 4 minuter kvar.
Two different satellites are going to be orbiting Mars and learning more about the atmosphere, and that is going to be such a special place when it comes to what we understand about the Martian atmosphere, eventually sending, of course, more robots and eventually humans to Mars. So very excited to have ESCAPADE
T0 så, men det står faktiskt L minus.
Today for NG2.
Jag vet inte vad skillnaden mellan T minus och L minus är.
Time I was so excited about. To listen in for that final go no go poll as we move through the final steps before launch. And we inch towards terminal count. Let's listen.
T-minus 359.
TCS active. AFSA safety timer started.
AFSS safety timer started.
Så, ska vi ner och svara? Herregud.
News for you. We are in terminal count. They did the final go no go poll. New Glenn is ready to launch, and we've transitioned into that terminal count. Now, from here on out, you'll be hearing from our flight ops, Patrick Moore.
And from here, the vehicle is also running fully autonomously on software. So our engineers are hands off. They've got their eyes on their screens, but the rocket is in control of itself at the moment.
Yeah, right now they're continuing to condition the propellants on the second stage using chilled helium. You can tell the rocket is nice and cool. And this will continue for another minute or so and helps prep the liquid oxygen and liquid nitrogen that powers the BE3Us.
Oh, liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen. Sorry, that is for the upper stage.
That's right.
And then also on the first stage, we've got. Oh, hold on a second. There's Kent. Hello, Kent. They're ready for a rocket launch here at T-minus 2 minutes to go to launch. One interesting thing to watch here. A couple of things. One is that the 7 engines start in a stagger start. So we've got 3 of the engines that'll start.
2 minuter alltså.
4 engines that starts just a second later. We want to make sure that we don't jostle the rocket.
Tror vi det händer alltså? Tror vi det händer idag?
The other thing,
känns så va? Vädret är perfekt. Inga problem.
is when we start that big water. You see the big water tower on your left?
That's right.
We are going to flood the base of the launch pad with the water. It helps dampen the vibrations and the heat. Because
det har varit så coolt att lyckas
sure
landa den.
Protect the launch pad, but also the rocket itself here.
And a huge shout out, of course, to Van Horn, to Kent, to Huntsville, Alabama,
Det är liksom,
and our friends here.
den är ju bra mycket större än en Falcon 9-raket, så det är faktiskt imponerande att landa en sån här raket. Eller ja, det är det ju faktiskt med Falcon 9 också, men det här är faktiskt ännu mer imponerande.
Ground power to the vehicle's own internal power. We're getting really close here. T-minus 1 minute.
T-minus 60 seconds. Range green. AFSS flight enabled.
Fuck yeah.
Hydraulics are started up on the forward and aft. You might start to see the engines gimbal a bit here. They're going to move back and forth, make sure they are nice and clear. And we're going to wait here for the big water. Let's turn it back over to mission control. Let's light this candle. Go, New Glenn.
T-minus 30.
Let's light this candle.
Can't wait to see this booster back on Earth.
GS1 hydraulics internal.
Fuck yeah.
GS1 at flight level. GS2 at flight level.
Hold.
Hold.
Wait, what? Aj, aj, aj.
All right, as we've seen here, our team has decided to go into a hold at T-minus 20 seconds.
Aj, aj, aj. Vad betyder det?
Let's wait to learn just
Det
a
är
little
en
bit more
hold
here.
nu. På 20 sekunder. Don't do this to me, man.
Auto safing complete.
Det låter väl inget bra. Safing. Det kanske är mycket längre i framtiden som den här kommer flyga.
Thank you again, everybody. If you're just joining us, we are awaiting here NG2, the second mission of New Glenn. We are at T-minus 20 seconds. Our team has decided to enter a hold here. We've said it on other webcasts before. We spend years designing this rocket.
Hallå Simon, välkommen till streamen.
Months designing the missions. If we need a couple of minutes to make sure
vi får se här vad som händer.
Det
kanske blir en väldigt kort stream som slutar i bara stänga av den. Jag borde egentligen plugga nu dessutom, så det kanske bara hade varit bra.
The team is currently investigating. Right now you've got to look inside of GS2. You can see our twin satellites. I believe that's ESCAPADE, correct?
That is ESCAPADE. They're ready for its launch to space, to Mars. It's going to have to wait just a couple more minutes here, obviously. There you see the base of the rocket, the 7 BE4 engines.
Det är fan mäktigt med få stora motorer istället för många små motorer. Båda är coolt, men det är någonting sexigt med just att ha ett fåtal stora motorer.
All right, if you're just joining us, this is NG2. We are at T-minus 20 seconds. We are currently in a hold because we had a terminal count abort. Our team, like I said, is currently investigating. So while everything is getting sorted out, we're going to toss it back over to NG2 on the pad and give you more information as it becomes available to us.
Jag har verkligen inte tid med att sitta under lång tid och kolla på en raket som inte flyger. Jag har en viktig inlämningsuppgift som ska in inom 3 timmar. Ja, ha det gött Simon. Jag funderar på att också dra. Faktiskt. Ska sitta kvar ett par minuter och se om de återkommer, men annars pausar jag nog hela grejen.
Welcome back, everyone. You are currently watching the webcast for NG2. Right now, our team is investigating, and we are expecting them to reset the clock. But in this moment, since we have a little bit of time, Ariane, I would like to take our focus and talk a little bit more about ESCAPADE and how it's going to help scientists learn more about the atmosphere on Mars.
Yeah,
Our friends.
Ja, alltså det vore ju synd om det blir en scrub igen alltså. Men jag har verkligen inte tid med att sitta i 1 timme och inte veta om den kommer flyga eller inte. Då är det bättre för mig att bara stänga av streamen. För jag har en inlämningsuppgift klockan 23:55 idag. Så jag vill bara ha svar. Jag vill inte sitta här och inte veta. Bestäm er för fan. Jag blir så ledsen alltså.
Perspective. 2 different vantage points simultaneously. This will allow us to really make measurements we've never made before.
The mission is studying the planet's real-time response to the solar wind, a relentless flow of particles from the sun that have stripped away the Martian atmosphere. ESCAPADE's twin spacecraft fly in 2 different formations to see how Mars responds to the solar wind in both time and space. The first formation allows ESCAPADE to observe rapid changes in the Martian atmosphere caused by sudden variations in the solar wind.
When we have 2 spacecraft crossing those regions in quick succession, we can monitor how those regions vary on timescales as short as 2 minutes up to 30 minutes.
In the second formation, ESCAPADE will study both the solar wind and the upper atmosphere of Mars simultaneously for the very first time.
We'll have 1 spacecraft in the solar wind so we can measure what's coming in, and then 1 spacecraft closer to Mars. This will help us understand the cause and effect of what's happening when space weather comes to Mars.
ESCAPADE will also help us prepare to send human explorers to the red planet. For example, ESCAPADE will give scientists more details about Mars's upper atmosphere that future astronauts will use to send radio and navigation signals around the planet. ESCAPADE's work could also help keep future Mars explorers safe.
The atmospheres can provide a shield that protect humans and other assets on the surface from things like solar radiation or intergalactic radiation. So it's important for us to understand how the atmosphere
Ja, det är en bra fråga.
NASA's heliophysics.
Jag tror väl inte att de kommer lyckas med det. Det kändes som att de var så pass långt ifrån första gången. Att de borde liksom hinna upptäcka ett nytt problem närmare landningen den här gången. Men jag hoppas verkligen, alltså jag säger inte att jag tror att det är låg chans att de lyckas landa den, utan jag tror bara att den är under 50%.
That came off of the sun, what we call coronal mass ejections, and it has just, you know, we had to play it extra safe for our customers because it can, essentially, if you don't do it right, it can fry the electronics on the satellites, right? So if we had launched, and we were prepared to launch, if we had launched but then put the satellites up there and then it can't deploy solar arrays, the computers don't turn on, you can't just go up there and pick up the satellite and repair them. Like, that's why this is those two beautiful satellites called Blue and Gold after the UC Berkeley colors. So that is why we decided to take a little bit of time. But as I said, can you imagine what these two satellites would have been able to observe if they were already in you know, the Martian orbit? But for the future, they're going to be up there and doing, taking plenty of data in to be able to do analyses, of course, for our friends at NASA and all of us that are helping build future missions to go to Mars, both for robotics, satellites, but also, fingers crossed, one day for humans.
That's right, Ariane. So if you're just joining us right now, you are looking at New Glenn NG2 out there on the pad. Let's take a moment, toss it back over to the rocket while our team is investigating an issue.
Okej, där har vi en ny tid. Jag kommer förmodligen lägga 20-25 minuter på att plugga då. Och så gör vi så här att vi ska se här. Vi kan göra... Oj. Var fan tog den vägen? Där? Nej. Vad fan, nu försvann den helt och hållet. Här. Jag sätter den här sådär, va? Och sen kan jag muta mig själv och låta det här gå vidare. Så ses vi när det börjar närma sig.
All right, welcome back, everyone. You are looking at NG2 out there on the pad. You might have noticed we have reset the clock at L-27 minutes and about 15 seconds to go. We are recycling and resetting the clock with a new T0 of 3:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, while we have a little bit of time and you see New Glenn out on the pad in all of the New Glenn glory, that rocket is, we have to talk about what is sitting in GS2, and that is ESCAPADE. Now, I actually had the opportunity and the honor to catch up with Dr. Joe Westlake to talk about solar weather effects and how that can affect satellites and what we can expect from the deployment of ESCAPADE. Dr. Joe Westlake, heliophysicist at NASA. We are so honored to have you here with us in the studio. First off, let's talk about heliophysics.
Yeah, so really excited to be here, really excited to see the ESCAPADE launch go up, really jazzed. And heliophysics, right? So heliophysics is an interesting word. It's fascinating because, you know, one, it doesn't exist in the dictionary yet, which is really an interesting thing. We hit our slang era in heliophysics. Merriam-Webster actually just picked it up. But heliophysics is like the science of the sun and everything that it touches. So when we think about ESCAPADE, folks would say, well, like, what does heliophysics have to do with some Mars mission? Why do we care about what the sun does to Mars? Well, you know, ESCAPADE is a space weather mission. We're going out to ensure and protect the space weather effects on Mars, on our astronauts, on our spacecraft that are there at Mars. And as we saw over the last couple of days, space weather is kind of a big deal,
It
right?
certainly is. Can you kind of talk about how space weather affected our launch?
Yeah, so hopefully folks over the last couple of days got to see some really pretty, like, light...
the Aurora Borealis, as they call it.
Just incredible, right?
Stunning.
You know, we saw across the U.S., even down here at the Florida at the Space Coast.
Space Coast, yeah.
Right, we saw a red aurora sat over top of our rocket. And that's really cool, like, that's a pretty light show. But what that really means is that the magnetosphere is kind of angry, right? It's got a lot of energetic particles that have come in from the sun, right? A coronal mass ejection came in, multiple coronal mass ejections came in from the sun, and they pushed into our magnetosphere, creating, you know, space radiation that can cause issues for our spacecraft, which, of course, you know, in the early days of any mission, they're a little bit fragile, right? It's sort of early days. We want to get the solar arrays deployed. We want to get the mission up and ready to go and safely out to Mars. And those early activities are really critical for us.
Certainly. So for people who don't know, tell me a little bit more about the heliophysics tied in to ESCAPADE.
Yeah, so, you know, when we go out to Mars, right, we're looking at how space weather, how the solar wind, how these coronal mass ejections and flares impact the Martian atmosphere, how they impact Mars as a system, how they impact and change how, you know, atmospheric escape happens at Mars.
Because Mars doesn't have the same atmosphere that we do here on Earth, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's always been a big question, right? When I look at the difference between our beautiful planet here on Earth and the water and the oceans and other things, why is Mars so different, right? There's a great question that relates to how Mars's atmosphere has escaped over the years, over the decades, over the millennia. And ESCAPADE's actually going to deliver to us a better understanding of whether the atmospheric escape changes in time or changes in space, right? And so getting that feeling and getting that understanding will let us figure out how Mars has changed over its history and be able to conserve and understand how that applies to us here at Earth.
And for the first time, we have a lot of firsts, actually. So we have 2 satellites that are deploying that are going to give us information. And on top of that, this is the first time we are deploying not during the critical Mars window. We're actually going to go into kind of this, like, lollygagging phase just for a little bit until we hit that window. Can you kind of explain that?
So isn't that amazing? Like, usually when you think about the planets aligning, right? I mean, the greatest planet alignment was when we sent the Voyagers out in the 70s, right? All the planets have aligned. We've gone and done the grand voyage, right? But as you go to Mars, every 2 years a window opens up where you can make the most efficient trip to Mars. And all that means is that Earth and Mars are in the right spot of the trajectory or the right spot of their travel every year to where you can actually get from one to the other. So once every 2 years, we line up and we make this, you know, it's like, how many Mars missions can we get off the ground in that one window?
In that little window, yeah.
But one of the great things, one of the innovations that we're doing here with ESCAPADE today is we're actually going to send it outside of that window. We're going to send it outside of that window because we can put it into a very benign, safe parking orbit and let it sort of hang out, loiter, hang out near us here at Earth. So we can make some measurements about the space weather here around Earth, and we can prep for those spacecraft to then, with their own propulsion, get themselves out to Mars when that window opens. We always talk about how, you know, spacecraft are, frankly, the safest out in space, right? There aren't earthquakes or hurricanes or other things to worry about when they're out in space. And plus, we always love to have amazing data that come down from our spacecraft, almost no matter where they are.
Certainly. And what's interesting is we're sitting here in 2025, but this mission is really going to take, I mean, it's 5 years when you also count all the way to when we're going to get the data that starts to come back, right? So 2025, around 2027 is when ESCAPADE will actually be at Mars, and then it starts kind of being reoriented. Is that my understanding?
Yeah, we have a couple of different orbit scenarios with ESCAPADE because we have different questions, right? So one of the questions is, I want to be able to follow, have a leading following orientation of the two spacecraft, and I want to see how things are changing in time by doing that. But then we're also going to spread them out in longitude, so like east-west. And we're going to try and fly them somewhat side by side. But then we're going to ask questions that are like, okay, what's the inside the Martian atmosphere versus the outside? And there's a lot of dynamics and other things that we can do with these, you know, really two very capable spacecraft that we're sending out to Mars.
And another cool thing about your job is you get to work with Dr. Nikki Fox. I was able to grab her into our webcast the other day.
Yes.
But today's a special day for her, right?
Yeah, it's a really special day. So, you know, when we talk about having rockets and lighting candles and other things, you know, this is her birthday. So we get to light a candle today. I think it's going to be really amazing to be able to,
quite the birthday candle.
Obviously, we're not going to blow it out until we get ESCAPADE up and moving, but quite the candle, and it's amazing.
Well, let's send it off to Dr. Nikki Fox. Happy birthday, Dr. Fox, and go NG2.
Yeah, excellent. Go New Glenn, go ESCAPADE, and we're just so jazzed to be here.
And we're so grateful to have you as a customer. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Heliophysicist, who knew? Not in the dictionary, and he gave us so much good information, of course, on why we're affected by essentially that solar weather. So right now, you are looking at New Glenn on the pad as we await the launch of NG2, L- about 20 minutes. But let's take it back over to our very own Eddie Seifert, who is with employees right here at Rocket Park at the best spot to watch New Glenn take to the skies. Eddie, how are things over there?
Hey Tabitha, hey Ariane, we are on top of the world. That's certainly what it feels like on this momentous occasion. And you know, I changed up the view a little bit. Behind me, you see Lunar Plant 1. That's our newest building at Rocket Park. Now, Rocket Park sits on 250 acres of what used to be an orange grove. That was pre-2016. Since 2016, we've added 2.5 million square feet of production space. And our newest building, it's building the lunar landers that are gonna help NASA and help Blue Origin return to the moon, this time to stay.
And Eddie, I think we talked about this a little bit on our last webcast. That building behind you is massive. It's hard to tell because you're elevated yourself, but maybe you can talk a little bit to the scale of that building, as well as its location relative to other facilities here at Rocket Park.
That's right, Ariane, if you're ever driving on Space Commerce Way, you'll see it. You'll see just how massive it is, right? If I'm standing on top of the world and that building's even taller, it's tall enough to house the 16-meter tall lunar lander, which is twice as big as the Mark 1 101 Pathfinder that we're gonna launch to the moon later this year. When that lunar lander lands on the moon, it will be the largest lunar lander to have ever landed, and we're just going to get bigger from there. So we're very excited about Mark 1 later this year or early next year, and then Mark 2 to return humans to the moon, this time to stay. And you mentioned the co-location. So the fact that we can be co-located with New Glenn means that we can encapsulate that very large lander in the very large New Glenn fairing here on site, and then we can drive it out to our integration facility to essentially place it on top of the New Glenn vehicle, much like we have ESCAPADE today.
Eddie, thank you so much. Always so great to talk to Eddie because he can talk at hours and at length about anything to do with engines, with lunar, and of course, he's our hype man out there with everyone here at Rocket Park. Thank you again. If you didn't notice, on his shirt actually are little lunar landers as well. But right now, we're going to toss it over to New Glenn on the pad as we await the launch of NG2. And in about 30 seconds here, we're going to hear another go poll. So let's go ahead and listen in. Welcome back, everyone. You are currently watching NG2. Now, we are awaiting the go poll for terminal count. Right now, we're in a hold and we're getting more information, but do stay with us. Keep your eyes on that screen because new Glenn is out on the pad and looking absolutely fantastic.
Okej, jag ser att det är lite fler inne på streamen just nu och jag tänkte bara meddela att jag är här, men tills de har lämnat liksom ett besked om de tänker flyga när det så är, så sitter jag och pluggar för jag har en inlämning vid midnatt i natt, så egentligen är det jättedumt att jag streamar det, men jag vill inte missa den här uppskjutningen. Så jag löser det genom att plugga on stream liksom. Men ni ser bara, det är bara raketen tills vidare. Så just nu är de i en hold och det var 17 minuter kvar av countdownen när de påbörjade den holden. Så det är åtminstone 17 minuter kvar innan de flyger. Min plan är väl att komma online och vara lite mer delaktig när det är 5-10 minuter kvar till uppskjutning, och det ser faktiskt ut som att det är det. Until den så fortsätter jag vara mutad och frånvarande, men ni ser ju, okej, nu har de just rapporterat då att det är 20 minuter kvar till uppskjutningen, så jag är väl tillbaka här om 10-15 minuter helt enkelt. Ha det gött!
All right, everyone, you have your eyes on New Glenn. This is NG2. We're at L-18 minutes and about 40 seconds. Now, coming up at the 17-minute mark, we will have that poll for terminal count. But Ariane, right now, I want to talk about how incredible this rocket is, how unique this rocket is. Can you kind of walk through for our viewers what makes this vehicle so unique?
Sure. So it's a two-stage vehicle. If you were able to tune in on Sunday, you saw a little bit of this explanation. But basically, when you talk about a two-stage vehicle, all that means, for those of you that are not rocket nerds like us, is that we're just stacking a rocket on top of a rocket. GS1, Glenn Stage 1, is the one on the bottom. It pushes Glenn Stage 2, the rocket on the top. And then on top of Glenn Stage 2, GS2, you see that shroud. In there, that's the payload fairing. In the payload fairing today are our payloads, NASA's ESCAPADE, the 2 satellites. But what makes this rocket so special? We're going to land the first stage. The first stage is reusable. And what's cool about this first stage in particular is, you know, we've had our New Shepard program, our suborbital program. We've learned so much from that rocket program. And there's actually some interesting similarities between the two, but also some differences. Up here, you see that we've put we call them now the forward fins at the top. Those help with the directional capability. New Shepard also has those. But this one, we also have the strakes. We want to be able to essentially fly this rocket back home and relight the engines. So it's a beautiful rocket. I cannot see it do its thing this first time in just a couple of minutes here.
I know, and at L-17 minutes, let's listen in for that go poll for terminal count. All right, guys, we have New Glenn on the pad, and the reason I have my computer in front of me is so I can tell you these great things. So we are go for terminal count at L-15 minutes and 30 seconds. You are watching NG2 New Glenn on the pad, the booster so appropriately named Never Tell Me the Odds, Ariane, and a great day to fly.
A beautiful day to fly. Looks a lot better than it did on Sunday. We were just constantly fighting the Florida weather down here. It would be sunny, and then it would be rainstorm, lightning, and then it would be sunny again. It was a lot going on, but today is a beautiful, beautiful day to fly. So as you mentioned, we're now at L-15 minutes to go from New Glenn's second launch. And Tabitha, you recently had the chance to chat with our CEO, Dave Limp, about NG2, today's mission, and what this mission means for science and for our company.
Yeah, you can see Kent right there on your screen. Hey, guys, giving you lots of love right here from the desk. Also thinking about our guys in Huntsville, Alabama, Van Horn, Texas, and of course, right here in Rocket Park. Now, when I got to talk to Dave, not only did he share his message to the more than 10,000 employees here at Blue Origin, some of which you see on your screen, but also how important NG2 is to focus on for our customers. This is a really big moment for Blue Origin. Can you tell me how NG2 compares to NG1?
Yeah, I think NG1 was obviously our first mission. There was lots to learn, and we did learn a lot, and unbelievably successful in that we made our goal, which was to get to orbit. This time we're going to be a little bit more ambitious, and we want to not only get to orbit, but we have our first paying customer this time with ESCAPADE and get them off to Mars. That's the first part of our goal, and then the second part of the goal is to land the booster out on Jacqueline. And if we don't, we have more over here in the factory that we're building, but we're going to give it our best shot.
Never Tell Me the Odds is pretty fitting for this booster. We are taking our second attempt at landing it for the first time. How are you going to feel if we land it?
Well, I certainly will not channel my inner C-3PO. I will be very ecstatic. I'll be on pins and needles up to that point, but it would be a huge achievement for the team and for Blue. I think that we have a good chance, but if we don't, like I said, we can build more, but I will be over the moon if it happens.
Now, New Glenn is obviously just one of the many systems we have here, right? We have New Shepard, we have Lunar, we have In-Space Systems. How are all of those organizations really working together to further our ultimate goals?
Yeah, I think each component of what we do has a piece of trying to get millions of people to work and live in space, and they all have their individual. But as it relates to this particular mission, a huge amount of people have put work into it. Obviously, our engines team in building both the engines for the booster, the BE-4s, and the BE-3Us for the upper stage. We also have a huge amount of work by the obviously New Glenn team building this vehicle, but also New Shepard has been a pathfinder. So all our avionics astronauts fly on New Shepard first so that we can get a sense of what's going on there and get a sense what it's like to have flight-ready hardware. And so it takes a whole team, and it's a very big cross-functional effort across Blue.
You know, we have more than 10,000 employees here that are very excited about this moment. I'm one of them. What is your message to those who are going to be watching our webcast and be watching NG2 take to the skies?
Well, I think everybody will be a little bit on pins and needles, I'm sure. But I would say that this is a culmination of a lot of work from a lot of teams. It's not the end point of our journey. Obviously, we have a lot more rockets to make and a lot more customers to make happy as we move forward. But to the extent we're successful here, I hope everybody at Team Blue takes a pause, smiles a bit, celebrates, because it'll be a great achievement for us. And we'll take that deep breath, we'll sort of embrace the moment and then move on, because we have a lot of customers waiting for us to succeed. And there's nothing that makes you happier in business and in your life when you see the smile on customers' faces.
Did you ever think that you would be doing something like this in your career when you're watching your rockets launch? No? No,
not in a million years. I was very happy making Fire TVs and Echoes, but it is a boyhood dream, and so to be able to have it, I kind of pinch myself every day and just amazed that I get to wake up and help this lead this amazing team of people build incredible technology like New Glenn.
I mean, and a reference to that, one of the first things they ask you when you come onto Blue Origin is, what is your first memory of space? What is your first memory of space?
Yeah, I have a lot of pictures. It turned out my 3rd, 4th, and 5th birthday, I have these old Polaroids of the cake, and they all have rockets on it. I was enamored with rockets as a kid, and never took the path where I thought I'd be running a rocket or a rocket company, but it turns out that it was very early in my life that I had a lot of love for it.
And we're so grateful to have you here at the helm. Dave, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Obviously, so great to get to talk to Dave, especially when we're kind of on the edge of this historic moment. But like he said, no matter what happens today, we have lots of hardware behind us already in the works. And it's a great day for Blue Origin. And we're so proud of everyone who's been a part of Team Blue up until this point.
Absolutely. And you can actually see the difference even between now, today and Sunday. They're getting ready to work on, looks like this one is going to be the next forward. We've got another forward. We've got another aft over here. So we've got a lot of rockets that are coming down the line. But we're just feeling pretty good about, okay, cautiously optimistic. We know how difficult this is. I'm going to lose my mind if we land this booster today. But as we mentioned, we've got other hardware coming down the line.
Yeah, and landing the booster, it's no easy undertaking. Now, our team, including myself, recently had the opportunity to spend a day at sea with our Jacqueline crew and learn more about the operation of landing and securing the booster. A live look at Jacqueline right there. Now, this is an operation and a moment that will change the course of Blue Origin history. Check it out.
The Jacqueline is that landing platform vessel where New Glenn will come down, land, and we secure it and bring it back in.
She's 380 foot long, 150 foot wide, and she's a self-propelled vessel. We are the recovery side of the operation. This is where GS1 is going to land, and actually that feather is a center point.
We have to leave 4 days before launch. We check all our equipment, and we ensure that everything is working, everything is fully functional. We transit for 300 to 400 miles, depending on how far the landing location is. And once we get there, dynamic positioning allows the thrusters on board here will hold this in position within a range of about 10 feet.
We'll have a couple small changes of Jacqueline's position. They're going to feed us new coordinates, right? So we might move 500 yards this direction, a little that way, but we're generally in the area. And right up to like 45 minutes or an hour before, that's our final position.
When the booster lands, the ROV will come out. Once it's mated with the booster effectively, we'll start pumping high pressure nitrogen into the booster.
Det börjar närma sig.
Will allow the detanking process
Får jag
to
vara med här
make the
lite?
booster inert and safe for us to operate around.
These are the transit stands. These are what we actually use to secure GS1 to the deck. Each one of these units is individually controlled. We'll have 6 different operators operating them out under the vehicle, and then we're able to lock out the stands, which basically rigidizes GS1 to the LPV deck and allows us to bring it home.
The complexity of what we do out here is pretty important because we operate in such an isolated environment. We're hundreds of miles offshore.
Hur tror ni det går då? Klarar vi uppskjutningen? Klarar vi landningen? Vad är era tankar? Har jag tankar? Detta är faktiskt bara andra gången som den här raketmodellen flyger. Vilket är insane. Det är lustigt att New Glenn efter en flygning är operational och flyger nyttolast från NASA. Medan Starship efter 10 flygningar inte är operational. Sen är ju det lite fuskigt med tanke på att New Glenn inte är fully reusable, utan deras andra steg är ju betydligt simplare än vad Starships andra steg är. Men det är ändå så här lite märkligt att tänka att New Glenn på sin andra flygning är längre fram i sin utveckling än vad Starship är i sin. Också fatta hur, alltså ha i åtanke nu lite att vi är väldigt bortskämda av Starship. Fatta hur sjuk den här flygningen skulle vara om Starship-programmet inte fanns. Det skulle vara den största booster någonsin som skulle försöka landa på vattnet. Det är alltså en jätteraket, det är en liksom Saturn-scale-raket som är återanvändningsbar. Inte fullt återanvändningsbar, men halvt återanvändningsbar. Mer än hälften återanvändningsbar. Det skulle vara det... Alltså, den är ju... Det är egentligen ganska sjukt att tänka på hur imponerande New Glenn är. Och det kommer från ett företag som tidigare bara har flygit precis över the Kármán line. Och sen... fallit tillbaka och landat med besättning och med icke-besättning liksom. Men det är liksom så ett sånt absurt stort steg att ta, att gå från att flyga New Shepard till att flyga New Glenn. Liksom från vad NASA gjorde på 50-talet basically till världens rejälaste raket, om det inte vore för Starship. Och alltså man skulle kunna slänga in SLS där, men SLS är inte alls lika intressant som New Glenn med tanke på att SLS är helt förbrukningsbar. Det här är liksom en SLS-scale raket som är återanvändningsbar. Så liksom, hade det bara inte varit för att SpaceX höll på med Starship så hade det varit by far det häftigaste som händer i raketindustrin just nu. Så om man bara har i åtanke hur jävla bortskämda vi är, så kan man också uppskatta hur jävla coolt det här är.
In about 6 seconds. That's going to change to a T- any moment, and that is really when the vehicle itself is starting to run on its own. We're going to start being able to hear our mission ops, Patrick Moore.
AFSS timer enabled.
Jag minns liksom när de presenterade New Glenn i första gången, och jag bara det var ju liksom när Starship-programmet också var väldigt tidigt development stage. Så det liksom var så här, what the fuck, de gör också en sån här grej. Vad i helvete, Blue Origin? Vadå, Blue Origin är ju det där lilla bolaget som bara har New Shepard. Alltså det var så absurt att de gick till detta. Och nu är vi här. Kan vi se den första landningen av en New Glenn idag? Det vore trevligt. Oj, vad det vore trevligt.
We're ticking down in 3 minutes. We're going to launch this vehicle to space. We're going to put 2 satellites on their way to Mars, and we're going to try to land that booster for the first time. So exciting, and a big props to our launch control team that has managed to do a recycle on this vehicle We want to fly today, Tabitha.
Oh, there are the cheers. Yes, the energy is palpable. Our launch director, Megan Lewis, she's in the control room now. I know this is an exciting moment from her. There we have employees from all across the United States. This is Huntsville, Alabama. Big shout out to our teams there. And of course,
GS1 pre-press
HQ,
start.
Kent Washington, we see you.
Washington.
All right, rocket going through its last motions here, making sure the tanks are pressurized to their proper flight levels.
That's right.
A warm day in Florida, but that rocket is super cold with its chilled in propellants. T-minus 2 minutes to go. LNG on the first stage, liquefied, actually liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen on the second stage. New Glenn looking beautiful. And there you go.
Beachgoers with a great view.
What makes this place so special down here on the Space Coast? A day on the beach, but you can sit there because our pad is so far south. A spectacular view for everybody here in Cocoa Beach.
Now we've transitioned from ground power to the vehicle's own internal power. I mean, we are getting close. Aria, hold my hand. I'm getting really excited. There are those BE4s, 7 of them.
Visst är det något jävligt sexigt med att ha ett mindre antal stora raketmotorer jämfört med att ha många små som Starship har. Jag tycker det här, alltså den här Saturn 5-känslan som ju Glenn har när man ser den här vyn.
For a staggered
pretty
start,
nice,
you'll see the big water deluge, and that's when you know that it's game on.
I love hearing all those sounds.
Får se om vi kommer förbi 20 sekunder den här gången då. Så sist vi var här så stannade de på 20 sekunder för en halvtimme sedan eller så. Kom igen. Ja. Never tell me the odds. Ja. Okej. Just det, den här lyfter jävligt långsamt, visst är det så? Kom igen. Okej. Kolla vad långsamt det går alltså. Wow, okej. Det såg lite weird ut när det tog så jävla lång tid för en att aktivera, men nu jävlar. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go.
Engine operating parameters continue to look good at full thrust. Body weight response to nominal. 40 seconds in. End of low stretch now level. 50 seconds in the flight. Continue to see good engine operating parameters. All set for
Ja, det där är en fin vy. Det är väldigt mycket sharing alltså. Kan de stänga av fucking publiken eller?
1 minute 15 seconds in.
Okej, Max Q, kom igen. Looking good, looking good.
Now passing Mach 1, New Glenn is now supersonic.
Supersonic! And we can hear the
1 minute 30 seconds. Engine operating parameters continue to look good at full thrust. Max Q, maximum dynamic pressure.
Alltså, Blue Origin-crowden är ju fan wild alltså. Det här är fan mer sharing än när Booster 12 landade under Starship Test Flight 5. Och den gör ingenting speciellt just nu. Det här är bara, alltså än så länge är det bara en vanlig raketuppskjutning. Det här har redan hänt för New Glenn liksom. Det spännande blir att se om de lyckas ta ner den till Jacqueline nu.
And that's when the first stage is going to begin its journey back home. We're going to see if we can.
Det är så jävla mycket snack. Alltså, du har kommentatorerna och du har mission control och du har allt detta jävla kedjan. Jag har ingen aning om vad som pågår. Och ni har mig också. Det blir alltså helvete vad många som ska prata i mun på varandra, va? Okej. Kommer upp till separation här då.
The cheers are real. You can hear them all the way in here.
And we have Miko.
And we have Miko.
And we have good stage set.
We have good stage separation.
Okej, det får vi inte se riktigt.
And we have ignition on stage 2. Both engine parameters look good.
Här får vi se det. Yes. Yes.
Body rate stamping out nicely. Both B3U engines look good. High thrust set point. Body rate
okay.
Good. 3 minutes, 43 seconds in the flight.
Det ser ut som att den stegrade något ofantligt. Alltså pitchade högt. Men det kanske var... Eller vad är det jag kollar på nu? Är det boostern? Nej, det är ju fairing. Så det där är andra steget. Då är det nog bara kameravinkeln som gör att det ser ut som att den stegrar. Den kanske ska göra det. Det är nog inte så dumt att den gör det. Om den har låg thrust to weight ratio här. Så kan den vinna lite tid på att pitcha upp den lite. Och det där är boostern, right? Ja.
Wow. All right. At 9 minutes is when we're expecting the first stage to touch down on Jacqueline.
Spännande. De gör en re-entry burn där, okej, ja. Det är ju spännande. Men ingen
Thank you again, everybody,
burn,
for joining
right?
us for NG2 so far. A nominal mission.
GS2 is now 320 kilometers downrange, traveling at 2.8 kilometers per second. Trajectory continues to look good on both stages.
Clean separation, clean fairing
right down the middle of the range
jettison.
track. Engine operating parameters on GS2 look good.
Sounds like our GS2 is having a beautiful ride. The NASA ESCAPADE satellites are exposed to space right now. And we've got GS1 coming down for landing at T plus 9 minutes.
Jag gillar att de fortfarande har vy på boostern alltså. Det borde gott. Jag tror inte att... Eller,
1 minute remaining in the GS1 coast.
Sist var det väl typ natt när de flög den här. Jag tror att de lyfte typ i mörker. Så det är också väldigt trevligt att de kör på dagen nu.
Everything looking good, looking nominal.
Seeing good TVC
and Ariane, this moment coming up is an important one.
It is. We're going to relight the BE4 engines for the re-entry burn.
Body rate snowing out on GS1. The exo turn is complete.
There you go. It's about 300,000 feet, less than 100 kilometers up there, coming in for a landing on the Jacqueline, 375 miles offshore, waiting for the first time to land Blue Origin's new Glenn booster on the Jacqueline.
Hallå Alexander, välkommen till streamen. Nu ska vi se om den får igång sina motorer här nu.
Continue to see body rates on GS1.
Ja.
That's great. We have our booster re-entry burn.
Jag tror man ska inte vara orolig att man inte ser flammor där, va? Utan det är för att det är metall. Det brinner inte på det sättet att man ser flammor tydligt. Utan vi får nöja oss med att se att det lyser i motorerna. Man kan också se den här typ skölden av avgaser framför där, ja. Men okej. Alltså, vad är vinkeln på det här nu? Det ser ut som att den flyger väldigt horisontellt, men det gör den inte, va? Gör den det? Jävla bra tracking shot alltså. Det går ju så jävla fort för den här boostern nu, och ändå lyckas de hålla den så inzoomad. Okej. Kom igen! Kom igen nu! Fan vad bra kameravinklar de har. Ja, det här gör mig så taggad. Kom igen! Wow! Yeah! Yes, sir! Kom igen! Wow! Jacqueline? Yes, sir! Vad händer? Wait, what? Wait, what? Wait, what? Ja, va? Den står där! Yes, sir! Wow, jag skulle så gärna vilja se det där utan några loss of signals. Imagine när de släpper det oredigerade, eller liksom uncut. Wow! Yes! Blue Origin, let's fucking go! De gjorde det. Holy shit, Ivar. Holy shit. Vad äter du för middag? Oh my god.
Trajectory continues to look good and body rate's phenomenal. Tank pressures look good. Engine operating parameters look good. GS2 is now
Fan vad nice. Och jag har aldrig sett de landningsställen. De ser ju annorlunda ut från hur de såg ut på den första animationen. Never tell me the odds, man. Wow. Och tänk att få se det där uncut.
What a day for Blue Origin, for the space industry.
Yes, two systems continue to look good through its burn.
Wow! Ja, alltså New Glenn is on the stage, alltså.
I'm speechless, which is rare for me.
Approximately 1 minute remaining in the burn.
GS2 continues,
of course, on a nominal path.
On a nominal path. I need a second to catch my breath.
Your body rates remain stable.
I think I heard my hand banging on the table too much. This is incredible.
PVC and MR. Tank pressures are nominal. Bottle pressures are stable.
Oh, I'm getting word they're going to replay the landing. That's something so good, you got to watch it twice. Give it back to us.
Vad får vi se? Alltså... man hade ju behövt se detta. De hade ju en drönarkamera som förmodligen har filmat hela tiden, men där vi tappade kontakt under landningen. Det har varit jävligt kul att se den. För det kom ju ner jävligt långt åt sidan. Alltså man får den här New Shepard-känslan liksom när de hovrar ett tag innan landningen. Ja, alltså det är helt klart nice att de flyger på dagen nu, som till skillnad från under första flygningen. Det här var så häftigt att se. Vilken fantastisk tracking shot de hade hela vägen ner också. Ja, men precis, det såg ut som att de skulle landa i vattnet. Jag blev skeptisk där, men jag hade också i baktanken att liksom New Shepard brukar hovra en stund och realigna innan den går ner för landning, och jag tror jag liksom har för mig att Jeff Bezos har snackat om att New Glenn skulle göra detsamma. De har lite mera bränslemarginaler och thrustmarginaler än vad Falcon 9 har. Men alltså grattis Blue Origin. Fuck yeah.
GS2 is now 3,020 kilometers downrange, traveling 7.9 kilometers per second.
What a momentous occasion.
Fuck yeah.
An incredible opportunity to witness live.
Eddie, I'm going to be honest with you. It's so loud around you. They're chanting so loud, and rightfully so. I'm having a hard time hearing you. But you got to tell me, what is this moment like for you, Eddie? You've been here a long time. You've seen the New Shepard booster land for the first time, and now you're watching New Glenn.
10 minutes remaining in the coast.
Yeah, this one was way better. Just incredible to watch. We're just here. Launch, land, repeat. It starts today.
Launch, land, repeat. I love it, Eddie. And I believe we also have some video, of course, of the celebrations happening all throughout Rocket Park, in every corner of what is going on in this building. Here's a moment. And of course, that's mission control, launch control. Where is it? You know you're gonna see it when they do it.
Kolla vad massa duktiga vuxna människor som beter sig som barn. Ja, det är så jävla kul att se varje gång alltså.
Celebrations all around. And there you have it. Let's show it to you one more time.
In the end, we are all children.
Continuing to see good data coming down from GS2.
Oh, I can't wait till she comes home.
I have never seen anything more beautiful. Not since the first landing of New Shepard in November of 2015. My goodness, we are almost
10 years
almost
later.
Exactly 10 years apart to land our booster. Just incredible. And now we're watching here. We've got a map here on the left. That's our stage one that, of course, made this beautiful landing on the Jacqueline, 375 miles off the coast. And what you're seeing there in the center of your screen, GS2 with NASA's ESCAPADE satellites on board. We're waiting. We have about another 16, 17 minutes until we deploy the two satellites.
That's right.
First the blue, then 30 seconds later, the gold to give them some space. And then about 5 minutes after that, we also have what we call a hosted payload on board, a Viasat radio tech demonstrator on board that we will also power on. But right now, all 3 payloads are exposed to space and are on a beautiful flight, a completely nominal
Jag skulle faktiskt vilja göra en liten
so far,
poll med
on its way to space and waiting for deployment here.
Jag får se om jag kan
17 minutes
göra
into
det.
flight, landing the booster, of course, was a historic moment for us here at Blue Origin. But the show isn't over. Still tracking, of course, deployment of ESCAPADE. And here's some of the milestones we want you to be aware of over the next 20-ish minutes. All right, at the T+25 minute, the second stage engine will ignite. At T26:44, we're going to have SECO2, which is that second stage engine cutoff. And then, of course, at the T+33 minute mark, and that's when we finally get to see ESCAPADE deployed. They're going to deploy and separate at about 30 seconds apart. First blue separation and then gold separation. And finally, as you mentioned, Ariane, we will have at about T+38 minutes that Viasat tech demonstration will turn on. But we have got one accomplishment under our belt. And as we await the second one with our mission today, I got the chance to actually catch up with Dr. Shannon Curry. Now, she's a project scientist on ESCAPADE, and she explains how long it took to get to this point with ESCAPADE and what this moment means for their missions.
Det vore ju pinsamt om jag missat någon raketmodell här. Men jag tror inte det. Jag skulle vilja se vad ni tycker om det här. Den bästa operational reusable heavy lift vehicle. För vad jag kan räkna till så finns det 2 nu. Falcon Heavy och New Glöm. Starship är inte operational. Och SLS är inte reusable. Man kan ju ha lite recency bias nu då och tycka att New Glenn är ju jättecool för att den är nu liksom. Men det finns också den här tanken på att alltså, det var jättecoolt att se den här landningen. Men var det lika coolt som att se den dubbla landningen av sidoboostrarna som man får se av Falcon Heavy? Det är lite svårt att avgöra alltså. Men det har varit kul att se vad ni tycker. Än så länge med en röst på New Glad. Ja, alltså det är ju inte en dålig åsikt om man säger så.
How we go to Mars. So we've never done a mission like this at NASA or really in any other part of the world. And using all of these commercial sectors where we're pushing the envelope and we're doing incredible kinds of technology to get low cost, high risk science and get our taxpayers the best bang for their buck, you can't beat that.
So can you dive in a little more and explain how both commercial and academic partners...
Fan vad kul det är att vara rymdintresserad i de här tiderna alltså. Alltså när jag började mitt seriösa rymdintresse och kolla på uppskjutningar och sånt här. Det var innan Falcon 9 hade landat på en båt eller land första gången. Så det häftigaste som fanns var typ Delta 4 Heavy. Som var liksom en stor raket. Men som inte gjorde någonting speciellt egentligen. Den bara flög. Då liksom det heter. Men alltså, fy fan vad kul att man hittade det här intresset. För nu har det blivit så jävla mycket mer nice att vara rymdintresserad. We're fucking going to the moon to fucking stay. And we're fucking going to Mars to fucking stay and build a colonization. Alltså, fuck yeah! Fuck yeah!
2025, 2026, 2027, 2028, 2029, another 5
Ja, alltså rymden kommer bli så mycket mer åtkomlig. Den har blivit mycket mer åtkomlig de senaste 10 åren och den kommer fortsätta bli mycket mer åtkomlig de närmsta 10 åren.
We will take
Hell
every
yeah.
single bit of data that we can get.
Hell
and
yeah.
again, with working with our partners, being able to get all of that data and enabling this incredible opportunity to explore not just Mars, but actually the entire trajectory there, that's science waiting to happen.
What is your message to all the collaborators who've had hands on ESCAPADE at this moment in time as you're kind of just waiting for it to deploy?
to all of our collaborators,
3 minutes remaining to engine
thank you from the
ignition.
bottom of my heart. We're so excited. We can't wait to work with you, and we're going to totally change how we do things at Mars. As we get ready for launch, my final thoughts are go ESCAPADE, go blue, and we're so happy to be here.
And we're so grateful to have you on the team.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Of course, so great to be able to hear from Dr. Shannon.
Hoppas han inte faller på vägen hem nu. Alltså alla landningsställ ser väl ganska bra ut. Och det ser ut som att den här har så många landningsställ att även om ett landningsställ skulle brytas så kan den fortsätta hålla balansen. Till skillnad från Falcon 9 som bara har 4 landningsställ. Right, alltså om den här skulle brytas så kan den här och den här hålla upp. Så det är nice. Men ja, hoppas att den tar sig in i land utan att välta nu. Man vet ju att det har hänt några Falcon 9-raketer genom åren.
There they are. There's the team. That's Kent, Washington, our headquarters. Wall-to-wall people, by the way.
Kolla vad massa nördar alltså.
Recycle like that. To see the team flip around the
Fuck
rocket
yeah.
from a valiant attempt on Sunday, dealing with solar weather that we haven't seen in years. Working closely with our customers, especially with NASA. Thank you for your patience.
And there's Huntsville, Alabama.
Just an incredible, the epitome of teamwork all the way along to this moment to see Glenn
land. The odds. And if you didn't know, that is what we have named this booster. It has been 10 years, as you said, Ariane, almost to the day.
Almost to the day.
Since we landed the New Shepard booster, and here we are.
Fan vad sjukt att heta Ariane och vara en rymdfartshost.
It felt right. It felt right. I'll tell you, Tabitha, I was there for the
Undrar om hennes föräldrar är enorma rymdnördar. Hur länge har Ariane funnits? Ariane 5 har ju funnits ett tag och jag antar att det har funnits väldigt många Ariane innan 5 eftersom den heter 5. Eller? Har det funnits en Ariane 4 typ?
Down a couple miles, downrange with our naked eye.
Right.
And you lose New Shepard over the horizon, but you saw this billow of dust and we heard touchdown. And it was this same roar, this elation, but today, as Eddie said, it feels so similar, but it also feels so different in the sense that getting this rocket
kör en
to
transfer
space
ut
and to be
till en
able to
annan parking
reuse
orbit
this
nu.
booster is opening a new chapter for Blue Origin. It's opening a new chapter for the space industry. It's opening a new chapter for space as whole, as not just domestically but internationally, to have more rockets that can be reusable, to have competition on the market, to bring down the cost of accessing space so that our customers, whether it's NASA, whether it's our friends at Amazon Kuiper that have signed up, whether it's Viasat, we want to be able to share this with the world. And as our founder, Jeff Bezos, has said, you know, there's so many organizations that want to go up and access space and use those assets. And he, as an investor, he's seen so many companies that have come to him and said, well, that's nice, but all of these organizations die on the vine unless you can reduce the cost of accessing space. And by having another reusable orbital rocket to be able to do that is huge. I cannot wait to see what this rocket looks like when we bring her back into port in just a couple of days, bring her back to our integration facility and get a look at this beautiful rocket. What a day.
And as we take a look at GS2, right now we are approaching SECO 2, which is second engine cutoff.
And we have SECO
Seco is confirmed. So we have a map for you on your screen, but soon we should be back and able to communicate with our ground stations, and we would have a picture for you. Right now, we are under 10 minutes until we're able to deploy Escapade, and if we do that, I mean, what a birthday gift to Dr. Nikki Fox.
Yes, and two
separation.
So far, I'm so glad we had a shot of our Huntsville, Alabama team. They have built beautiful engines.
Jag ska faktiskt gå tillbaka till att plugga nu. Jag avslutar den här streamen lite tidigare, men Blue Origin fortsätter ju streama på sin YouTube-kanal. Så det är bara att gå till Blue Origins YouTube-kanal och kolla. Jag vet inte hur länge till de har tänkt streama, men det är uppenbarligen inte bara nu. Så ha det gött och grattis Blue Origin. Nice! Fan vad kul. Så ses vi i nästa stream eller nästa avsnitt. Ja, det tycker jag göra. Hej då!